If you feel like that's what you want to do, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a roof without a roof, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth, because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't love me. Bring me down, the love is too high. Bring me down, can't love me. Bring me down, I said, cause I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Cause I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is another Friday, and here we are. Appreciate everybody. We are going to talk about the road to revenue. Of course, scaling your business and your life, which is what everybody wants to do. We don't know where to start. We don't know how to grow. We don't know how to continue to grow, and we don't know how to thrive through that. And I'm going to go through that technique as we speak today, and appreciate everybody that's coming in right now. I see we're joining. You can go ahead in the chat, let people who you are, where you're coming from. Feel free. We have Q&A, so put in your questions if you haven't already submitted them. And we are going to talk about scaling. The first thing that we have to do with scaling, as always, is taking inventory of our values. So knowing as a person and a company, what are our values? What are the personal values, experiential values, the giving and receiving values? And it's so important to understand what values you have, because everything that you build upon, the foundation that you build upon, are all based off of those values, and understanding what you're trying to do personally and professionally, as an individual and as a company. You have to have a mission-driven business as you do a mission-driven life. And what does that mean? That is where the enjoyment of the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. And we have to determine what the quantum nature of our potential that we're pursuing is personally, but also as a business. And when I started Sports Marketing with Warren Moon, this was, a true testament. Is I knew the values of the company: gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication, which is really inspiration, effectively communicating to the most powerful source of light, love, and lessons, and having that come through us with value to everyone else. So everything in our business had to have a charitable purpose or cause tied to it. So we understood the values of the company, but the mission is different. The mission is tied into. And so I created paragraphs after paragraphs when we first started the company about leveraging relationship capital and situational knowledge and experience. And it looked like 99% of the other people's mission statement. And my business partner, Hall of Fame quarterback Warren Moon, who his childhood friends had nicknamed the QB1 Kenobi, because he lives his life in neutral. He lives his life at center at a certain frequency that was unlike mine. I always called it the majesty of calmness. So when we started working together, I was much more in the ego-based consciousness, and learning and creating all types of interferences, voids, and shortages in my own life. And I'd learned these great lessons. Well, one of those void, shortages, and obstacles that I was creating was my mission statement. And you see a ton of companies and people, by the way, individually, not really know what their mission statement is. They're not tied them. They don't tie them to their values. And I think they're trying to either entertain or just come up with something that sounds smart. I think when I created the first mission statement for sports ball marketing, that was my intention, was to look smart, classy, big, etc. And that mission statement, when I reread it with QB1 Kenobi, I had no idea what it said. And so when we read it together, Warren looked at me and he said, okay, well, what does this part mean? You want to leverage, billions of dollars of relationship capital in order to effectuate the monetization of those relationships. I said, oh, it means I want to make a lot of money. Oh, okay. Well, Dave, why don't you just say make a lot of money? Okay, well, why do you want to make money, Dave? It says here to have a charitable purpose or cause tied to everything and go less the vapors of human existence, to create a viable and logical. What does that mean? I want to help people. Oh, so you want to make a lot of money to help a lot of people. Yeah, and then read off the last paragraph of it about surrounding ourselves with the greatest sporting events and people in the industry. And Dave, what does this mean? I want to have fun. I want to enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of that potential of making a lot of money so I can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun, because I've shifted the paradigm of value from trading all the time with conditions, judgments, and expectation that I give to receive something. Instead, I want to tell people and teach people and have a business that shows people that you can focus in on receiving first, as long as it comes through you with value for others. So we came up with what I still think is one of the best mission statements, simplest mission statements in the world: make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. And that beats the 3 paragraphs that I spend hours, days, maybe even weeks on building something that sounded or looked good and made me look intelligent and made the company look good and intelligent. But in essence, it's tied directly to gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication, all to and directed for the mission of making a lot of money, helping a lot of people, and having a lot of fun through the enjoyment, right? Learning to love what we do, finding the light, love, and lessons in everything. The consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your potential, leading to revenue and happiness. Now, how does that scale? So we created the mission statement to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. And we started out in the first phase. Now, there's 3 phases to growing personally and a business. And the first is the learning phase. And I think too many people forget where they have to start. You have to start by learning the lessons. And if you don't have the perspective that I'm getting involved in this venture to learn, right, to find the light, love, and lessons of what I don't know, and I'm going to practice the best ways of learning. Because the more that I learn, the more I can effectuate making money, helping people, and having fun based on the values of gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication or inspiration. And so when we look at that learning phase as a person, or we look at the learning phase as a profession, a company, and go into it with the perspective that I don't know what I don't know. And so many young people come into a business and they pretend to know their values, they pretend to know their mission, and then they pretend to know their value to the company. I hear all the time young people tell me, oh, I just want to be paid what I'm worth. Really? Because if you really want to be paid what you're worth, then let me tie what you do directly to the bottom line. So if you're a sales guy, I can easily tell you what you're worth. But we got to do the same thing in life. Right? Our own person. We can't go and start as a freshman in college, or we can't go and start a relationship and think that we know everything that we need to know. No, we're in the alignment phase. We have to apply the AAA strategy of alignment, then take action, and then prepare for adjustment, knowing that we don't know what we don't know, and that the first stage is always the learning phase. So if we go in with the right perspective, step number 1 is to go into the perspective that I am here to find the lessons. That's how I start off. That's how the first stages or the first phase of scaling happen. Then when I go in with this perspective of finding the lessons, I can focus in on what I want, the what, not the why, right? Like I said, everybody knows mine is very simple: to help a lot of people, because I think that's everybody's why. Is to help something or someone with something or something or someone. It's that easy. So I look at, focus in on the what you want, not what you are. right? The what you are was to formulate the mission. That's the values. You are your values, personal, experiential, giving, receiving values. That is what you are today, but focus in on what you want according to what you are today. And the first step, when you know you're finding your lessons and you're looking to see what you want, you need to know first in the learning phase, who's your audience? Who is your audience is missed so many times. People are so far down the line in their business and they don't know who their audience is. They don't know the size. They don't know the demographics. They don't know the wealth. They don't know the transformation. So therefore, they don't know how to stimulate interest, transition interest, or share a vision. And they definitely don't know how to manage a vision if you don't know the spectrum of who you're trying to address. The nice thing about today is personally, in person, on the phone, via email and media, radio, print, TV, and social media, and professionally as a company, right, in person, on the phone, via email or media, you can get in front of a much larger spectrum than ever before. A huge spectrum allows you to be more detailed. Okay, the next step, if we know the lessons and what we want in the spectrum of our audience, we now can get prepared for growth. We can get prepared to grow by learning from those who have already grown. The way you get prepared for growth is to find someone that sits in the situation that you want to be in, or a similar or synergistic or supplementary situation that you want to be in, and ask them how they got there. Ask them where the roadblocks were. Ask them what dummy tax that they've already paid. Wouldn't it be nice in your life if somebody else would pay all your taxes? Well, that's what you get to do if you ask for help and you look and find those people that are synergistic, supplementary to where you want to be and that have already grown. Now, financially, the most difficult part of the learning phase is the financial phase, either personally or as a company. And that's because the learning phase is dictated by the economics, meaning that we want to build a foundation and see how long it takes to get to one point, break even, right? This is either personally or professionally. You need to break even. You need to invest every dollar, every time, resource, etc., in the enjoyment of finding the light, the love, and the lessons, in the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of the potential of what? Breaking even at what you want. Breaking even. That means that anything that you buy, invest in, etc., from the employees that you have to have, do the equipment, to the software, the CRMs, the phone system, whatever it is, you should put a target on it of where its break-even point is. Time, value, and resource. You need to look at the quantitative value of what you're doing and look and say, okay, this employee or this copier or this car or van or this piece of equipment, it will break even. And if you're formulating everything in the learning phase to how much is it going to cost to learn the lesson to where we can go to the next phase, you will be much better off, and you will look at things as an investment in yourself or your company. So each person does not become an expense. It's an investment in what is a foundation, and the foundational purpose is to break even, to come out equal. Then you get to the second phase. The second phase is the execution phase. So I now have things that are growing and said, I've asked for help on people that have already been there, supplementary, synergistic to what I'm doing. I also have the lessons that I'm looking for in the light in everything that I can by learning and enjoying the pursuit of the consistent, persistent pursuit of that potential, whatever it may be, me to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. So when I leased my first office, I was like, okay, when can I break even on paying for the office? When I hired my first employee, when can I break even on that? What investment am I going to need to make? Therefore, I can manage my own expectations of how much capital I'm going to need in order to get me there, with no expectation that I'm going to make a penny. Because you can't build a firm foundation unless you make an investment, financial, time, resources, emotion into the foundation to get to the second phase, which is execution. Execution phase is the growth phase that creates a profit. It creates acceleration and growth that has a substantial ability to either reinvest or take out. Once again, the first thing that we have to keep in mind is we still have that lens of productivity, how much value are we going to provide, accessibility, how accessible are we to others, and are we accessing what we want according to our mission statement and our values, and the lens of gratitude, meaning find the lesson. We're still looking to find the lessons on how efficient and effective and statistically successful we can be in order to make more profit, right? The first phase, the learning phase, was about breaking even. Now we want to profit. So if this is about our health, we want to start seeing the results, right? If it's about our nutrition, seeing whatever it is in our life, our relationship, we want it to be fruitful. We want it to harvest. It's the execution phase. And in the execution phase, we need one thing. We need a team. A team, because now we can scale, and we start scaling with that team. And we want to make sure that all of our team members are not only aligned with the values, but also understanding the mission, so that when they make their decisions, they don't have to be micromanaged. They don't have to be told. And there's a system to do this in life. You can do it with your children. You can do it with your friends. You can do it with your business. Let me show you the 3-step process. Here's how you execute and create profit. Now that you have a foundation, right? We start bringing people in, and they shadow you, or they shadow an exercise or a situation. Then they start working in the context and collaborating with it. And then you watch them. And then you let them go so that they can do it to somebody else. And so the system keeps going and growing and going and growing and growing and going and growing and going. Watch, collaborate, listen, leave. Those are the 4 steps that you have to do. You have to be able to actually show someone and give them the situational knowledge in order to effectuate what you're teaching. They have to be able to see you do it or somebody do it. There has to be that type of transition or mentorship program. And then the collaboration, they do it together. And then the observation of watching them do it so they can find and make those adjustments, alignment, action, adjustment, AAA strategy infected. And you have to make sure that you have certain rules that need to be followed. Like for me, very simple rules of gratitude: forgiveness, accountability, inspiration, taking inventory of your values, asking and attracting, being a student of your calendar, doing it now, and practice ending fear. Whatever your rules are, right? It could be every day you have to report in to be a student of your calendar, or you need to be here on time, because every time we have a group meeting and you're late 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes times 30 people. That's 150 minutes that we are not using in the most effective, efficient, or productive, accessible, and gracious way. These are just rules, and there has to be certain rules, not too many, but there has to be certain rules to fit into the execution phase. Another key component of scaling in the execution phase is find outside expertise, right? Not everything in the execution phase results or needs, especially today with so many freelancers and so many experts that are available at a variety of prices from free to millions of dollars, but find expert outside expertise that either have relationships that you want to have knowledge that you want to have paid the dummy tax so you don't have to pay it, and make sure that each of those outside experts have a quantitative guaranteed value for you. It's that simple, but you need to seek outside expertise. You don't have to have everybody be permanently on your team. One of the key rules in the enjoyment of the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential is that you never can compromise consistency, right? If you understand the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious continuum as an individual or a corporation, you know that consistency is what creates the exponential and acceleration that you need. Even if our senses are too weak to discover it and our memories are too short to remember it, you need to know that if you consistently do something, not only will you get better, which means you're exponentially going to grow, but things will happen faster, which means they're going to exponentially grow in a quicker amount of time. Even though you can't see it, just as I always say, like my kids, I can't see them grow, and so I have to go buy them another pair of shoes every 3 weeks because they grew out of the last ones. You can't see it growing. That's exactly what occurs personally and professionally in your life. We're not capable of seeing incremental exponential growth, incremental acceleration until what? it's too late, meaning until we've already stuck out the fight, until we've already enjoyed the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. And when you do that, you'll be able to reap the rewards and the harvest and see that you're in the execution phase. Finally, the financial goal, right? And the financial goal of the learning stage was to break even. Here, you need to have a multiple percentage of profit. You need to know what your minimum amount of goal is. So I want to minimally with each employee that I have, double the amount of money that they cost me in profit. A certain percentage is going to go to reinvest, to give bonuses, to give raises, to pay for the rent, the overhead. All of these things have to be taken into mind. The same thing is true in your personal life. Have those financial results of execution that you're looking for. Know the percentages. I actually have extracted my emotions, which has helped me exponentially in financial well-being by extracting the emotions, because every single year at the beginning of the year, I dictate what percentage goes where. And I set minimum goals of what I want. I want to double the amount of money I make as fast as I can. No matter what I make, this percentage goes to my wife, this goes to my children, this goes to my mom, this goes to my immediate family, this goes to my community, this goes to my state, this goes to my country, and this goes to the world. Percentages. Therefore, if somebody asks me for something, if it's not predetermined, most I can say, please submit it for next year, but it's not in my plan for this year. And yes, there is a discretionary fund, of course, which is a percentage that's already predetermined so that I can extract my emotions from it. But my financial goal, personally and professionally, is to have a certain multiple of percentage of distribution or downstream of what profit I make, because I already know I was breaking even in the learning stage. And then finally, what I call the annuity or equity stage. This is when we're thriving, when the energy that we created more energy. And in this, the first thing that people have to do is dream. You got to dream big to live in the annuity and equity stage. So many people, they are stuck in a business because they only understand the learning phase. They keep reinvesting, no plan for profitability. It's I'm breaking even. And then you have the people that know the execution phase and they're profitable, reinvesting, spending, reinvesting, but no annuity that says, this is how big I can be. Let me imagine things that nobody else has imagined. Let me be extraordinary. Let me then try to predict the future by using experts that have experienced something that I believe is going to happen in the future. So if you're in a pandemic, you can read history about people that have lived in a pandemic and pick up on human nature and what has happened to the housing market, the financial market, educational institutions. And you can start learning and seeing and growing and leveraging the lessons for the future to predict it with more statistical success. You can ask people that have lived through different financial crises, emotional crises, health crises, institutional, educational, whatever crisis they may be, and ask them what they learned. So you don't have to pay the dummy tax. 2, through that, you want to identify the barriers to growth, right? What is the interference between the corrosion between me and the timelessness of the future, of predicting the future, of creating an annuity for myself, creating equity for myself? You know, I had a friend of mine who had a pasta company in San Diego, and he worked his entire life at the execution phase. And he made a couple $100,000 a year, and he was able to buy a house and send his kids to college and pay for the weddings and the graduate schools, and the grandkids got presents and go on one vacation a year and all of that. But he also had an annuity plan. So when he retired, he wanted to sell his business. And the irony of his annuity plan, though, and through the expertise of people around him, is somebody early on in his career told him, hey, if you're going to build a pasta business, own your business, own the real estate. Because if you build a successful business, even if it just is a barely profitable and allows you to live, or it just breaks even, someday you may profit, or the whole value of your business may not be the business itself, and maybe the real estate. And lo and behold, when he went to sell his business and retire or repurpose or re-engineer or restart his life, which is actually what the training is next week about re-engineering, repurposing, and restarting your life, your business, and your life. He ended up selling his business. Now, the business wasn't worth that much, but the property was worth $20 million. $20 million, never had to work again or worry about his financial well-being again, because he created an annuity by dreaming big and trying to predict the future by asking for help and identifying all the barriers for growth that he had. Now, I use a spine strategy when I'm in the annuity or the equity stage. And the spine strategy says this: it starts with knowing, like the pasta story, that the legs feed the lion. In the Miracle on Ice movie, Herb Brooks, the coach of the Olympic team, which is still, I think, the best win of our century, of 100 years, the most notable sports win, when the U.S. Olympic team beat the basically professional team of Russia with a bunch of college kids. And then even after that, won the next game to win the gold medal. He would always say the legs feed the lion. People thought he was too tough on them, but he knew that he would skate them and skate them and skate them. The stronger their legs were, the more food that they were going to catch. You have to know your profession. You have to be the best at it. You can't try 16 different side hustles if you're not making what you do, your core business, better. That building would have been worth nothing if he didn't stay in business, if his pasta business wasn't at least breaking even, if not profitable, over the 25 years that he owned it. So in a spine, the top of the spine is your core business. And I always say, aligned with your mission and your values. So for me, the core of my spine, which has changed over the years with Leigh Steinberg and Sports One Marketing, and now with my own personal brand, the prioritized business, the one that is aligned most with my mission, to make the most money, to help the most people, and have the most fun, is the top of the spine. And then any of the other businesses that align with the mission and the values are in that spine, and use a trickle down or a bug light theory in order to effectuate scaling, growing, an annuity or equity. If it doesn't fit within the mission or the values, then it's a vertebrae off of your spine, and you still can monetize the vertebrae by asking for a finder's fee or a procuring factor finder fee, where you're the procuring component or you're the purpose of the business by not only just finding an opportunity, but actually helping procure the deal and the revenue from that. So use a spine approach in both your personal and professional life. Use a spine approach by knowing what your values are, what your mission is, and giving your primary focus, attention, and intention into the coincidences that you want here. Allow it to feed the other businesses that are aligned with your values and your mission, and then create vertebrae that are with businesses that aren't within your values or mission or within the core competency. Your goal through this spine strategy is the one which is my mission, which is to empower others to be happy. Happiness being the greatest virus of all time, spread simply by witnessing it. Change your life mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially, simply through happiness. That's why all of this is the road to revenue / happiness. Scale your business and your life. You need to have a trickle-down approach in the equity or annuity stage. Also, continually with the equity and annuity that you create, go back to stage one, right? What is it? Alignment, action, and prepare for adjustment. That adjustment goes back to the learning curve, which expands and accelerates your business to make more money, help more people, and have more fun, to create more businesses in the spine or more channel partners in the vertebrae. It's a great approach. Go back to phase one. So finally, as we get into the Q&A, what's the financial goal of the annuity stage or equity stage? It's shared investment. It allows everybody to benefit with more than enough of everything for everyone. Shared equity, shared annuity. All the people, the team, all the partners are all sharing in your profitability. So if we go from the learning phase to the execution phase to the annuity and equity phase to scale personally and professionally, We must start with a sound foundation and daily take inventory of our personal experiential giving and receiving values. And 2, we must stick to our mission and empower others to stick with the mission and to create that spine and vertebrae so that not only can we break even in the learning stage, not only can we become profitable with sound economic reasons, impacts, and capabilities that are quantifiable, but we can create an annuity that thrives to empower others to revenue and happiness. I appreciate everyone's time on how to scale their business and life. I'd love now to take questions and get to the fun part. Appreciate everyone. All right, Kyle, I am looking for an investor to assist my vision. What would be your steps to take? 5 steps to take when you're looking for an investor. And thank you for not saying, in these times, how do you do this? Because that has no bearing at all. Because there's only 5 things no matter what times we're in. Number 1, credibility. Make sure that you look through with a fine-tooth comb the credibility of everything you present to an investor. Verbally, on paper, digitally, wherever it is, make sure through a fine-tooth comb that you're not overselling, back-end selling, lying, manipulating, or cheating, because the minute you do, all they will focus in on is looking for the negative, non-credible things that you're saying. In fact, when there's anything questionable, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. If you were 100% credible throughout the process of getting an investment, you would be 100% successful. Because anybody that's 100% credible, which I've never seen before, could simply say, invest in this and this is what you're going to make, and everybody would believe them. Second, emotional attachment. You need to have emotional attachment. People buy on emotion for logical reasons. 3, you have to be able to articulate in print, in verbal, whatever way you are, you have to be able to quantify and articulate the reason somebody should do it, the impact it's going to have on the business, and the capabilities that you have in order to execute on the promises that you made. If you can do that, you can then ask a question, can you see any reason that you want to move forward, right? I guarantee you're going to make $1 million if you just give me $5. Well, if you're credible, we have an emotional attachment, you trust and like me, and you can articulate the quantified reasons, impacts, and capabilities, I can't see any reason I won't want to give you $5 to make $1 million. The last 2 components are interesting. One is an overall impact. That takes the ability to understand and ask a series of questions of how you can provide value, and if they know somebody that can help you. And then finally, the most confusing of all, where most people start to try to take in the investors to assist in their vision, is straight ideas, features, and benefits. The innovation, the ideas, the features, and benefits should only be supplementary, synergistic to the credibility, emotional attachment, reasons, impacts, and capabilities that you articulate and quantify effectively. Josh, I lost my job when the company I worked for closed due to the recent market turndown. I started a protein bar company before that happened. How smart is it to divide my attention between learning a new career skill set, Python data science, and on the war path for getting funding for my protein bar company? Time and risk tolerance. That's a value-based decision. What I want you to do, Josh, is implement what we're talking about today. I want you to take inventory of your values. I want you to look at the personal values you have today, the experiential values that you have today, the giving values that you have today, and the receiving values that you have today. And I want you to look at the skills, knowledge, and desire that those are applicable to and aligned with when you decide, should I spend 100% of my time looking for a new job or developing those skills, knowledge, and desire? Should I spend 100% of my time utilizing and trying to start the protein bar company, developing my skills, knowledge, and desire? Or is there a blend between the two? Determine upon how old you are, how secure you are, what help you have, who you know, what you know, and where you need to go. Depending on all those, aligned with your values, it will be quite easy to make the decision which way to go. If you don't or have difficulty understanding, reach out to me. These are the things that I coach on specifically with the detailed independent dependent variables in order to effectuate how we know what those personal values are. And remember, your values don't have to be balanced. It's not 25% personal, 25 experiential, 25 giving, and 25 receiving. People are in different circumstances. Some of us have been born on third base and think we hit a home run. Some of us were born with nothing and have that huge advantage of nothing to lose. Some of us have been born with everything and have everything to lose. Some of us are old. Some of us are young. Some of us have worked in different industries that are doing well right now. Some of us have worked in industries that weren't doing well, but are applicable to what's going on right now. Please stick to what you can control, your mindset, feelings, what you think, say, do, and believe, and even the unconscious competencies of your own personality, and determine which way you want to go. 100% towards the skills, knowledge, and desire for a job, 100% towards the protein bar, or a blend in between. Next, Shadow. Sir, how do you know this much? What books do you read? I don't know that much, right? What I do know that's made the biggest difference in my life is I don't know what I don't know. And I'm radically humble enough to not only be of service as a beloved servant, but more importantly, to ask for help, to find the people that do know, that have paid taxes for me to effectuate what I want. So I spend the majority of my time accessing, right? I'm productive. I provide value to everything I have planned, everything I don't have planned, and even in my sleep. But I access what I want. I make myself accessible, but I access what I want by finding people that sit in the situation that I want to be in. The books that I read vary. I read history so I can understand human nature. I read Think and Grow Rich every day. I read The Course in Miracles every day to give me the different layers of peace, forgiveness, ego-based consciousness. I read Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, The Power of Intention. And then I read all types of other books, like my friend Evan Carmichael's book and my friend Rob Angel, who invented Pictionary's book, which is coming out Monday. All of these different books I read, I listen to, I ebook, I great summary, I Google, I seek the information. I don't necessarily read every book or listen to every book or watch every movie end to end. I find the lessons, I reposit the lessons and create stories around those lessons so that I can not only remember them myself, but articulate them to empower others to learn the lessons that I've learned so they don't have to pay the dummy tax. Next, Philip, welcome. Explain how a person becomes a student of their calendar. How do you prioritize tasks? So a student, first of all, is someone who pays attention to and then gives intention to the coincidences that they want in their life. Attention plus intention equals coincidence, a mathematical occurrence of when two things coincide at the right way at the perfect time. You have to study your calendar. Study what you have planned with that lens of productivity, how much value you're going to provide, accessibility, how accessible you are to others, and how are you accessing what you want, and a lens of gratitude. Finding the light, the love, and the lessons, clearing the connection to that which you're always connected to. If you study your calendar, pay attention to, and give intention to, you will get the coincidences you want rapidly and accurately at the right way at the perfect time. Things will push you to a better situation or make your situation better. And that allows you to have more faith. When you have more faith, it clears more interference and more corrosion between what you're already connected to, which are those light, love, and lessons, which you then access. So it's a self-perpetuating system of positivity that creates more abundance, that allows you to have more room for what you want, so it can come through you for others, which allows you to create more for others, which then in turn keeps the cycle going. You need to be a student of your calendar, study what you have planned, what you don't have planned, the white space, the empty space in your calendar, and your sleep. The number one habit that we all share. On average, we spend about 8 hours of time sleeping, which is the only time that we completely are out of our own way. Our ego's not creating interference, voids, and shortages. So we have to utilize that time by studying it, paying attention, giving intention to the coincidences we want in our sleep. And the number one coincidence I want in my sleep, besides physical restoration, is that I want to start my next day at a higher frequency. I want to plateau and grow. I don't want to live the myth of Sisyphus. I don't want to push a boulder up to the top of the hill every day, just have it fall down when I go to bed and wake up at the same place every morning. I want to plateau and grow. So I'm a student of my calendar. I study what I have planned, what I don't have planned, and my sleep. And how do I prioritize? I prioritize by what's most important first. How do I determine what's most important? What's aligned with my values and my mission. And if something is urgent but not aligned with my values and my mission, I can either delegate it or not do it. That way, I'm using my time with the lens of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude. I'm using my time in an efficient, effective, and statistically successful way. I am getting statistically more successful, accelerating and growing, and getting what I want more rapidly and accurately. Fernando, how are you? Are entrepreneurs born, or they can be self-made too? Can anybody be an entrepreneur? Can anyone be an entrepreneur? Okay, everybody's born. So yes, entrepreneurs are born. Entrepreneurs are made. I'm giving you the keys of scaling to, as any entrepreneur, to do that. Everyone has potentials, right? I have great potential as an entrepreneur, great potential as a writer, a speaker, a coach, all the other things that I do. But there's certain things I don't have as big as potential as other people, like to play professional basketball. So everybody is born with a potential. Accordingly, some people have more potential in certain areas of entrepreneurship than others. You need to find where your skills, your knowledge, and your desires align with how to be a successful entrepreneur. I have seen entrepreneurs that can't sell. I have seen entrepreneurs that sell ice to Eskimos. I have seen entrepreneurs that can build micro supercomputers, and I've seen entrepreneurs that can't tie their shoelaces. I've seen entrepreneurs in every aspect of life, but the one common denominator of entrepreneurs is that they must be what they can be, and they enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of their potential. They don't quit, and they ask for help. Those are the things that it is. They all have that in common. They have varying skills and knowledge and desires as far as their own quantum being of what they've been born with. But all of them share the must be what they can be, and they all enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of their potential. I have never seen one quitter become a successful entrepreneur. I've never seen one quitter become a great athlete. I've never seen one quitter achieve or pursue their potential. So don't quit. You got it? All right, Leanne, how do you balance taking action and getting stuff done and execution versus listening to your intuition and having faith? You got to do both, right? And so 2 minutes a day is worth more than 2 hours on a weekend. I meditate 20 minutes in the morning in order to effectuate the higher frequency. When I get off of track, right, even though I'm executing on as a student in my calendar, being productive, accessible, and gracious, implementing the law of Goya, getting off my ass, I am a ferocious Buddha. I'm a ferocious Buddha all day long. I'm number one, ferocious at stopping when I'm going in the wrong way. I'm a ferocious Buddha when stopping when my ego, right, whether it's fear or the secondary fears, the need to be right, the need to be offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, guilty, resentful, all of those different things that we feel, I'm ferocious about stopping, right? And then I'm a Buddha, right? Then, like you say, I listen to my intuition. I breathe through my nose, out through my mouth. I get back to center, knowing where I started the day at the highest frequency, not like the myth of Sisyphus, but at a plateau that's much higher so I can grow. And I breathe into center and I think about, why do I feel this way? And I don't move in the wrong direction. I stop, and then I'm ferocious again, and I roll back into the right direction. Roll back into it. Right into the right without wasting time, energy, emotion, and resources. If I go back, or you go back and look at all the time, money, resources, and energy we've wasted just with the need to be right or a need to be offended, two of my faves, which they come up every single day. I just get back to center a lot quicker instead of years and months and weeks and days and hours wasted. Now it's just minutes and moments. So you have to have a blend of both. You have to make sure that every day you're a ferocious Buddha, knowing when and being aware of your own ego, and then stopping, which takes great ferociousness, dropping just like a Buddha and breathing into that center of the highest frequency, and then getting ferocious again, productive, accessible, and gracious to implement as a student in your calendar, the efficiencies, the effectiveness, and statistical success you want to allow things to happen, to clear the interference between you, the light, the love, and the lessons of everything that exists. How do we know if our business is worth investing in? Well, use the philosophy of the learning phase, right, to figure it out. Find out if you can get to even. Find out if you can do the math of how you're going to get to break even. Find out what type of investment is it going to take. And there's other things that would take less investment to get a higher yield. It's all math. It's time and risk tolerance. It's just a matter of doing the work, of being more interested than interesting to find out what something is worth. The reasons, impacts, and capabilities align with your value and your mission. What something is worth to you is not the same that it's worth to somebody else. Trust me, my wife just bought a chair, and we have varying degrees of worth on the chair that she bought. She felt it was worth investing in. I think she has a problem. All right. I hope she's watching this. Anyway, how do we find, I'm in so much trouble. It's the weekend. I cancel. All right. I'm looking for the queen I'm married to. Okay. How do we find help and mentors if you're new to a small town, don't know anyone? Hey, that's the old school excuse. Hey, why don't I look to see what I don't have? Let's find the void shortages and obstacles. Let me focus in on the barriers, right? It says here under annuity and equity, right? Identify your barriers to grow, but don't focus in on the barriers, focus in on what you want. There is an unbelievable thing that in small towns, that although you can only, no matter what town you're in, meet so many people in person, especially today, it's limited. But we have this really cool thing called the telephone, and we can talk to people and text people and reach millions of people by the telephone. There's also this unbelievable thing called email. That also has a capacity to reach tons of people and to ask how we can be of value or service, or do you know anyone that can help me? And then there's media, radio, print, TV, and social media. I hope in your small town you have access to at least one of those, because if you do, you have access to about 4.4 billion people. So let's not make excuses. Let's not focus in on what we don't want, right? I'm not going to focus in on my wife wasting my time and money on chairs. I'm going to focus in on her understanding what an idiot I am and loving me despite how big of an idiot I am. And hopefully you'll do the same. Let's find what we can do. Let's find the opportunities, the size, the scope, and scale of the spectrum in which we want to address, no matter where we actually lay our head. Trust me, I know so many billionaires, including Warren Buffett, that lives in a very small town. So let's make it happen. Ray, Uber's been losing money for years. When is the break even? When they go public? That did not go well. Well, I don't run Uber, and I didn't run Amazon, right? Amazon was one of the companies that was in debt for so long until they turned the switch and stopped borrowing money to expand. And then they broke even very quickly. And then they went into the execution phase. And now they're in an annuity and equity phase that has never been seen before, into the trillions of dollars. So remember, they have their plan, and Uber can pivot and grow. They are still maybe in their learning phase or an execution phase. But I hope that they have values and a mission, and they adhere to the financial goals of the learning phase, of the execution phase, so that they can reach the annuity and equity phase for anyone out there that has participated or invested in them. Anonymous, for someone on the feeling side, harmony is highly valued. How would you be able to welcome new challenges and taking risks while maintaining harmony for yourself? That's a great question, because I shifted my thermostat in life. My thermostat used to be my bank account. And then I determine how I feel. If my bank account was way high, I feel really good. If my bank account was low, I wouldn't feel so good. And then I changed it where that bank account was just the ingredient in the mercury of what? My thermometer of how I felt. The harmony, the peace is what I wanted. I wanted to be positive and be happy through gratitude. I wanted to have peace through forgiveness. I wanted to have control through accountability, and I wanted to be inspired. I wanted to clear the connection, no matter what the outside lessons were. Pain, right? Pain is just an indicator. It's a turn signal. It's telling me to move a direction because something better is around the corner. Something brighter is for me. It will better my situation. And I'm always trying to be a ferocious Buddha to get back to harmony and to learn as many lessons as I can, to collect as much light and love and power that I can, to allow it to come through me for others, to add my value. My value is determined upon my conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. My value is quantum to me. And if I can be grateful, that adds value. But if I can appreciate it, add my personal value to it, and then give it away, I create even more expansive nature, more abundance for more people. And challenges are just lessons. Pain, which is indicative or aligned with challenges, is just an indicator that you have something to learn. Mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, and financial pain and challenges are just an indicator, a turn signal that you have something to learn. Learn to go to somewhere better, somewhere faster and bigger for yourself. Aligned with what? Your values and your mission. Great content, Dave. Happy holiday. Thank you, Kobe Ben. I love you. I hope you are happy and healthy as well. A great mentor of mine, Kobe Ben. Thank you for joining me. How do you know which is best for you? Angel investor, advisory shares, consultants, or all of them? So what we do is we get alignment. We align them with our values and our mission. We take action and we prepare for adjustment. If during the course of the AAA strategy of alignment, action, and adjustment, anywhere we find that we're not aligned on our values or our mission, we try to get understanding and alignment. And if we can't, we pray for their happiness and move on. Great question, Matt. Ben, I run a tech meetup group and I'm constantly working to solicit sponsors to bring in revenue for this community. I've created, but this is not, I feel like someone that's reading my bio sometime and they're like, sorry, but this is not feeling like a sustainable approach and it's getting exhausting. What advice do you have for more long-term revenue approach? First of all, if you don't feel that sponsorship is a long-term solution to funding your project, that's because you're not providing value to the sponsors. So what I would work on is value. The more value that you have in your community, the more opportunity you'll have to monetize that value. Meaning the value that you give will be commensurate with the articulation of the reasons, impacts, and capabilities that somebody would benefit from the value that you created from your community, that tech meetup group. And so what you want to do is find the reasons why somebody would invest, the impact it would have on those investors, and the capabilities that your tech meetup group has that will provide value once again, to those investors. Be very pragmatic about it. Put it into math and into numbers. Find the 120 rule. Be able to articulate the fact that, hey, we have these meetings and here's the type of person that comes to these meetings. Here's the opportunities that exist. 6 out of 10 of these end up doing this and you end up making this. They do it all the time. If you don't have value for sponsors, then you're not going to have values for tickets. You're not going to have value for advertising. You're not going to have value for any of the type of things that you can monetize from a tech meetup group. If you don't know what you can monetize, then go to one of the 1,000 tech meetup groups that are out there and find out which ones are successful and go and ask for help and see exactly how you can be synergistic or supplementary to what they're doing in order to effectuate the same thing without having to keep on paying the dummy tax, without making any money from selling sponsorships. Lori, what tools do you use to keep focused? Well, number one, 2 things come before focus to me. Clarity of my values and my mission. And when I have my mission, I go back and revisit and balance my values for the day because I'm not afraid of being a hypocrite. I know that things and circumstances and people and changes occur every day. And I'm going to take inventory of those values and balance them. And when I have clarity and balance, then I can get focused. But my practice is a practice knowing 1, progress, not perfection. 2, that if I take daily inventory of my values and then remind myself of my mission and then balance those values within the context of my mission for the day without being afraid of being a hypocrite, without having fear and emotion and being a ferocious Buddha, I then can enjoy the consistent everyday, persistent without quit pursuit of my potential and be focused. And if I get out of focus, I then am a ferocious Buddha and say, why am I not focused? Oh, the ego is taking me somewhere that I'm afraid or separate or inferior or some sort of worthiness issue or whatever else takes me off of focus. But I do that knowing the thermostat that I don't feel as good as I did when I was at my best self at center while meditating at my highest frequency. Brianna, what's one way to stay persistent? Stay consistent. I know that might sound silly to you. I believe the people that can have habits and disciplines, utilizing strategies to lower the bar and to effectuate what they do every single day, 7 days a week, those consistent people create both consciously and subconsciously the ability to not quit. That it's much easier as we are consistent about it to understand the first 10 minutes. What do I mean by that? One of the reasons that people don't stay consistent and persistent is because the first 10 minutes are hard and they don't get any easier. The only way that the first 10 minutes of what we do, meaning starting to when we're 5 or 10 minutes into it, the only way that it gets easier is through practice and consistency. So it makes it easier not to quit by being consistent because we're regulating the conscious and subconscious and then creating a frequency within the unconscious so that we have a new norm, a new regulator, a new frequency, a new awareness that makes it feel good. And then when things feel good, it's easy to be persistent and things feel good, right? If I could eat a Happy Meal every day and feel good and be healthier, it'd be very easy for me to be persistent in eating those Happy Meals. So be consistent. It will lead to persistence. Heath, how do I create the opportunity to sit down with you on the Playbook and have a fantastic, inspiring discussion? Well, I'm going to tell everybody one way to do such things like that. It's almost in every one of my trainings. Please ask, right? I will sit down and talk to you. Please ask how you can do that, and we'll work our way up to that. Right? Determined upon what value you can bring. We can do IG lives, we can do LinkedIn lives, we can do playbooks, audio, video. We have so many different ways to enhance your brand and have inspiring discussions to help more people, empower more people, all types of opportunities. And Heath, please ask a series of questions of how you can provide service or value to me, and ask me, do you know any way that we can have an inspiring discussion on the Playbook, which is my podcast? Thank you. I'm maybe the best question here because it reminds everyone how important it is to ask. Iqbal, how you going to be involved with a private coaching group? Personally involved. I've started a private coaching group to assist people one-on-one. I will be personally involved in the group, the private Facebook group, the intimate one private training, but one-on-one, I am personally doing it. You're not going to get a sub-coach. So I just try to accommodate all the requests for me coaching. For those people that cannot afford the one-on-one time with me, I'm doing a private coaching group. Thank you, Iqbal. You can reach out. By the way, if you're interested in that, please just text me 949-298-2905 or email me at david@dmeltzer.com or dmeltzer.com/coaching, I think. But I'm really excited. It's been working extremely well. All right. What are your best tips for getting clients when you're just starting and have no previous experience in testimonial? Work for free, right? Best way to get a client at start is to prove your value. So either work for free or work for performance or guarantee your performance or value. Best way. When I started my business, I worked for free, right? I still think that's where my free training started for the last 20 years. I work for free. I provide my value, right? Allow everything else to happen. So work for free, guarantee your value, work for performance. Give someone an opportunity to get to be a testimonial for you and to refer other business. Ask for help, right? It's out there, Adam. You can do it, my friend. When interviewing investors, what's the best way to find smart money? Okay, this is going to be politically incorrect. Money's not smart. Money's not smart. I'll take dumb money. I'll take smart money. I'll take dirty money. It's clean money. When I say dirty, I mean like actually physically dirty. I'll take your money if you want to invest in me, as long as we're aligned in our values and our mission. And if I have the right paperwork to protect the investment, what do I care? If somebody has literally, doesn't know anything about, let's say that I'm in sports marketing and somebody comes to me and says, I love sports. I want to give you $10 million, David, for 1% of your company. Now, I might be a little bit undervalued, but let's say I wanted it. What do I care what he knows about sports or not if I have the appropriate alignment of my values and my mission, and I've protected myself on the investment that he doesn't have any voting rights or any say in what I do, and he can go enjoy, maybe he just wants access to the events that I go to. Who knows? I've had all of those, and it definitely is stupid money. So don't get into some egotistical, arrogant way of thinking there's smart money or dumb money. If you need help, then go get a mentor. If you need help, then pay for a business advisor like myself that will make you more money. Don't lie to yourself and lie to the investors. Oh, we're looking for strategic investors. We're looking for smart money. Bullshit. You're looking for money. I'm serious. You'll take dumb money as long as you're protected and it's aligned with your values and your mission. Come on. I'm just literally, it is frustrating when people will start out and say, how can I help you? Well, Mr. Meltzer, we're looking for a strategic investor. No, you know what? You need an advisor, and look, pay me and I guarantee I'll make you profit every single month. And let's go get investors that have money, regardless if it's dumb or smart or ugly or funny. I don't care what their money is, as long as it's real and honest. All right, Mike, good question. G. How can we help to bring more people to this trainings? Taking action on what you say changed everything for me. This is like three setup questions. I'm not paying these people, I promise. Please, everybody, I'm asking for your help. Be a sponsor, be a power sponsor of mine. Invite people to these free trainings. I'm not selling you anything. Literally, please send the replays to people. Send my guides to people. Send my books to people. I'm not charging for them. Just send them. Let's empower as many people as we can, to empower as many people as you can to be aligned with what we think. And if you don't agree with me, let me know so I can also be a hypocrite and change my mind according to your values. But let's all join and be a big, great community that create abundance in the universe so that everything comes through us to everybody else. Please share, right? Thousands and thousands of people register. Hundreds and hundreds come here, watch it for live. But more people watch it on the podcast, watch it in replay on YouTube. So share it. And please invite everyone you know. It's free. We completely understand. We completely appreciate you. Well, we're coming to the end of the day. Next week's training is on re-engineering, restarting, starting over, where we go to take advantage of the opportunities that exist tomorrow, to be able to be brave and have that spine strategy. If you want the free training guide, please reach out to me, 949-298-2905, david@dmeltzer.com. There's a free training guide, Scaling Your Life and Business. It's all free. If you want my book, email me once again, text me, that's fine. If you haven't registered, please do. Register your friends. Just reach out, 949-298-2905. david@dmeltzer.com, @David Meltzer for everything else. David Meltzer, Google me. Have a wonderful weekend. And most importantly, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Thank you. Thank you.
Crazy.